Gumbi's land victory versus Trump's tariff war. Can South Africa hold the line? A closer look at one South African community rewriting the story of land reform, not with conflict, but with conservation, cooperation, and a powerful sense of purpose. After decades of dispossession under apartheid, the Gumbi people of KwaZulu-Natal have turned a painful past into a hopeful future through the successful establishment of the Somkhanda Game Reserve. But how did they do it? And what lessons does it offer for land reform across South Africa? Welcome to VlogND. I'm Sal Pier. For many South Africans, land reform remains a dream deferred. Under colonialism and apartheid, millions were stripped of their land. Since 1994, efforts have been made to return this land to its rightful owners. But when land is given back to an entire community, not an individual, things can get complicated. Disagreements over how to use it, power struggles, and inexperience can stall progress. But the Gumbi community chose a different path. After apartheid, the Gumbi people formed the Mvokweni Community Trust, launching a claim for the land they had lost. Nearly 45 years after their forced removal to make way for white-owned farms and dams, they finally regained their land in 2005 under South Africa's Restitution of Land Rights Act. Instead of dividing it into individual plots, the Gumbi decided to protect their biodiversity-rich land. Working with environmental groups and government agencies, they set aside nearly 3/4 of it for conservation. By 2011, Somkhanda was formally declared a nature reserve. Through grants and partnerships, the community invested in roads, facilities, and wildlife reintroduction. Today, the reserve is home to Africa's famous Big Five: lions, elephants, buffalo, rhinos, and leopards. The reserve doesn't just protect wildlife, it provides jobs. From rangers to lodge staff to craft sellers, Somkhanda employs more people than other reserves its size. More than 80 full-time staff and over 200 temporary workers keep the project running. For many in the Gumbi community, this has been life-changing. As one local restaurant worker told researchers, "This is my first job since finishing school. I didn't even know what a restaurant was before this." But not everyone has benefited equally. One young man expressed his frustration, saying, "I couldn't get a job at the reserve, and now I can't even walk in without being seen as a poacher. It's our project, but I feel like an outsider." These voices highlight the challenges of ensuring inclusive growth in community-led projects. To address these concerns, the Community Trust recently secured funding to build luxury lodges aiming to boost revenue and reinvest in local development, better roads, schools, and healthcare. Experts say Somkhanda proves that land reform can work when backed by clear leadership, training, and inclusive governance. The key? Collaboration. Strong ties with conservation groups, nonprofits, and government departments help the Gumbi succeed. But their story also offers warnings. Without transparency and shared benefits, even the best-intentioned projects can breed resentment. In a country where land remains both a symbol of oppression and a beacon of hope, the Gumbi community is showing what's possible when land restitution meets vision, unity, and hard work. However, these efforts and other progressive plans in South Africa are threatened by sanctions and new tariffs that risk to force the nation backwards. Fortunately, South Africa is doing all it can to succeed. South Africa announces support measures for exporters impacted by U.S. tariffs. The South African government has unveiled emergency measures to assist local exporters facing severe economic strain following U.S. President Donald Trump's abrupt imposition of a 30% tariff on key imports. The move threatens thousands of jobs in critical sectors like automotive manufacturing and agriculture. The launch of Export Support Desk. Trade Minister Parks Tau announced the creation of an export support desk to help affected businesses navigate the crisis. The initiative will provide guidance on alternative markets and financial aid, though critics argue it may be too little, too late. President Cyril Ramaphosa confirmed ongoing efforts to engage with Washington, stating, "Our negotiators remain ready, but we must also prepare for the worst." A relief package for vulnerable industries is expected soon. Economic fallout feared. The tariffs could devastate South Africa's economy. Automotive sector. Major exporters like Mercedes-Benz South Africa face steep losses. Agriculture. Citrus farmers, heavily dependent on U.S. demand, warn that shifting to Asian markets will be difficult. Steel industry. Over $1.8 billion in exports are now at risk, per industry group CIFSA. Central bank projections suggest 100,000 jobs could be lost, with opposition parties slamming the government's response as inadequate. Failed negotiations and rising tensions. South Africa had offered concessions, including purchasing U.S. liquefied natural gas, but talks stalled amid disputes over Pretoria's foreign policy and affirmative action laws, a sticking point for the Trump administration. With the clock ticking, businesses brace for a socio-economic crisis, as one industry leader termed it. Please let us know what you think. Should South Africa prioritize finding new export markets or focus on domestic demand to offset losses? Beyond the Export Support Desk, what other emergency measures should the government implement? Should South Africa ally with other African nations under AGOA to push back against U.S. tariffs? For VlogND, I'm Sal Pier. Stay tuned to VlogND for updates on this developing story and more stories shaping Africa and the world. Thank you for subscribing and sharing the video. We appreciate your support so much.
To Washington, hear our call. Washington, lalelani skalo setu. We may bend, but we won't fall. Singaguka kodwa soze siwe. From land to law, from port to track. Sisuke emhlabeni, siyaye emthethweni. Kusuke echwebeni, kuye emzileni. The line